Hi, and welcome to the homestretch edition of the Boiled Sports Video podcast, part of the Hanson Arm Boiler Dowd. Purdue really escaped with its life last night, barely, versus Penn State in Happy Valley. They were up by 8 with about 3 minutes left. In the driver's seat, had righted the ship. Things looked pretty good after an atrocious first 25-30 minutes. Really, Purdue took their first lead at about the 10-minute mark, I believe. Was up by 8, like I said, towards the end. Couldn't close out because the defense by the guards was pretty lousy. Penn State had a guy that was just lighting them up. And on the other end, when they had a chance to close out when the game was tied, Painter drew up an unusual out-of-bounds play that went right into Biggie. He was promptly double-teamed, had the ball knocked away because he didn't recognize the situation and kick it out of the double team. Purdue went into overtime. In overtime, Ryan Klein and Dakota Mathias both kind of went crazy. Were hitting shots the way they've been known to do in bunches this year. So here's the deal. Here's the secret. Purdue is good because they can shoot. Not good because they have great big men. I know Biggie Swanigan's an incredible player. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm not going to take anything away from Haas either for being a monster underneath. They need each other, obviously. But as we saw versus Penn State, when Purdue's hitting their shots from the outside, everything works. The offense gets going on the inside and they can score and it creates space. Teams can't play zone. Teams can't double down on inside because they have to respect the guys on the outside. And then Purdue's offense starts clicking. It's all predicated on the three-point shot, really. So Mark Titus, an ex-Ohio State basketball player, a funny guy, kind of an internet sensation for a couple years, who now writes for The Ringer, he wrote about how the Big Ten was down and things were horrible. And I started thinking about this. Okay, yeah, the Big Ten's not great this year. I don't think anybody's going to debate that. There are some key problems with the Big Ten. It's not very deep, number one, but those top 3 or 4 teams are pretty solid. And I think you could argue that if you're going to say the Big Ten's down, is the ACC down? I mean that. Duke took a month off from basketball. They lost to everybody, and it really didn't matter. The media turned their head because Krzyzewski wasn't there. North Carolina's lost to a couple bad teams, and every week it seems like one of the teams in the ACC loses to teams they shouldn't. Guess what? This is college basketball. This is what happens this year. This is why there is no clear number one. I mean, Gonzaga, they're undefeated, but let's all be real honest about Gonzaga. They don't play anybody, right? Here's the deal. Mark Titus thinks that the Big Ten's horrible because his Buckeyes are lousy. His Hoosiers are lousy. Michigan State is worse than they thought they were going to be. And by the way, Michigan State, they have some injuries, but Michigan State is still a talented team. I would go a step further. They're probably too talented to have the record they have right now. But that doesn't seem to matter. We all know Tom Izzo's a great coach. We all know that if Tom Izzo gets his team in the tournament, they're dangerous because Tom Izzo coaches them. Now let's think about something for a thought exercise. Pretend for a second right now Michigan State was Purdue. What I mean, let's say Biggie Swanigan went to Michigan State, and statistically the Purdue team that you know is actually Michigan State. They have as many wins, they have as many losses, they have a good bunch of three-point shooters, they have a point guard that has been great and not turned the ball over a bunch, and then they have Biggie Swanigan and a big, strong 7'2" center. The media would be crazy about this team. That team would be a top 10 team right now. I think we all know that. We do know, though, Matt Painter is Matt Painter, and Matt Painter has a lot to prove. Tom Izzo has built up some equity with the media because of what he's done in the postseason, because of what he's done consistently during the regular season. So I know that comparison is a little tough. But if you change the jerseys and you say this year's Purdue team is Michigan State, I think a lot of the media would be like, oh, Big Ten's strong. You've got Michigan State, and then you got Maryland, you got Wisconsin, who everybody's in love with. And they're in love with Ethan Happ for some reason. I know he's good, but give me a damn break. Okay, back. And let's pretend for a second Northwestern was IU. So IU was in contention. They were in 3rd place, and they had 20 wins. Everything would be right in the world, right? Because you'd have 4 teams right there that everybody loves to love, right, from the Big Ten. Mark Titus wouldn't be crying. Other media people wouldn't be saying, oh, the Big Ten stinks. Everything's horrible. The world has gone to hell. Titus brought up an interesting point. He said there hasn't been a top 5 player go to the Big Ten in 2 years or something. I don't really remember the exact point, but it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. Top 5 doesn't matter. He had to scrounge for that stat. McDonald's All-Americans really do matter, and they do matter especially when you're coming into the tournament because those guys have the ability to take over games, put guys on their back, and carry you to the promised land. Top 5 guys, what there usually is, one and done, which isn't the best thing for a program, right? I think the ideal situation is kind of what Purdue has right now with Swanigan. It's obviously great to have a guy come in who's clearly the best player in the nation. Purdue hasn't had that since Glenn Robinson, and by the way, it took him 3 years to get to that point, right? Remember, he was Prop 48, his second year he was good, and then his third year, He was clearly the best player in the nation. We're not going to be able to see that with Swanigan. We all know that. But boy, wouldn't it be fun to pretend next year Swanigan came back and they had everybody returning? Purdue would probably be number 1 preseason, if not number 3, right in there. With the addition of Nogel Eastern. Pardon my pronunciation of his first name. I don't know how to do it. But Eastern anyway. What do we know about Purdue? We're close to the end, boys. You have Michigan on the road, IU at home, and then Northwestern on the road. It's a tough ending. Could be worse, I think, if you had Maryland and Wisconsin there. But the imbalanced schedule giveth and it taketh away. What's Purdue going to do? I think they're going to lose 1 of 3. I think that's not the end of the world. I don't think that'll kill their seeding unless they lose to IU at Purdue, which I don't think they will. If Purdue can handle their business, beat the teams they're supposed to, maybe drop a close one to Michigan or Northwestern, I still think they could be a 4 seed. And I know I've been all over the place this year. I've been down in the dumps. They've been able to win games and come down the stretch and do things that Painter teams haven't been able to do the last couple of years. It's funny how talent does that. It glosses over a lot of problems, obviously. It's fun to be in this position, though, isn't it? Purdue number 14 in the nation, maybe a top 12 team in a week. Did this win over Penn State give Purdue a wake-up call that they need? Because they were really a sluggish team. It's hard for these guys to get up for every game. It's hard for you to get up for a game when you're playing a cavernous, empty arena like the Bryce Jordan Center. Purdue did a pretty good job and did what they had to do at the end, and attrition kind of wore down Penn State a little bit too. That's about all I have. If you have any thoughts, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for listening. Thanks for reading. Thanks for tuning into the Handsome Hour, where it's BS all the time.